Good evening, everybody. It's now in Holland around 11 o'clock, and for the first time, I'm going live, not only in English, in my mother language, but also on Facebook and in YouTube Live. That's for me all the first time, and I know it's all going to go well. And it's a special evening for me to do this my book presentation. I did it last week in Dutch, and I love doing it all 3 evenings. And something told me to do it also in English, and I can show you my Dutch book. Wil de echte moeder opstaan? And in English that's Will the real mother stand up? And I published it a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to do a book presentation about it, and I decided to read it, read out of my book 3 evenings long. My book is made out of 3 parts. Hey Leo, ben je aan het kijken op Facebook? Ja. Oh, and Ken, wow, that's a long time ago, Ken. That's about 40 years ago. No, nice to see you. And I was just saying that I published my book. Will de echte moeder opstaan? Will the real mother stand up? And I was just telling that I planned last week. I did a book presentation, and I read it. I read 3 evenings. I read it in Dutch from my book, and I'm going to do that the coming 3 evenings, now tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday night, also in English. And I'm actually very excited to do it. And I chose to do it in 3 evenings because my book is in 3 parts, and so I decided every evening to read 1 part. Good to see you, Wendy, though. I like to see you too, Ken. And yeah, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Just having you watch me, Ken. I like this very much. You know, it's so long ago, 40 years ago, and it just seems like yesterday that we sat together in the classrooms. And I can't believe it, actually, that I'm now an author, that I'm writing a book. And maybe it's nice to tell that this is the first of 3 books, not only 3 parts of my book and not 3 evenings, but also 3 books. This is the first one of 3. And the second book is Will the Real Goddess Rise Up? And the third one is, how do you say that in English? Will the real life enjoyer stand up? But it's okay. Yeah. Ken, it really does, doesn't it? Yeah, you're talking about the classroom. Yeah, it's 40 years. Yeah. It's maybe more than 40 years. The summer of '79, we went to Holland. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to figure out this for the first time I'm doing that, looking at Facebook and also looking at my YouTube canal. But I love challenges, and I'm just going to go for it. I've chosen tonight to first read the introduction of my book, and to end the evening with a thank you, a part that's also the last part of my book. And in between, I want to read a couple of small pieces from the self-healing tools that I used, Reiki and family consultations and the Bach Bloom Flowers, that have traveled with me 25 years long in my inner path, going inside to free the child in me that I had lost. So I'm gonna start by reading it, and maybe it's good to tell at this moment that I published my book in Dutch, and at this moment I'm translating my book in English, and when that is done, I'm going to put it on Amazon in ebook, in the e-reader, because I've looked into sending it, the book, and the expenses are so high that I thought, why don't I do it in an ebook? Then it can, and why also? Because I want to send my book worldwide. So and Amazon is a store that's for sending worldwide, and I thought I'm just going to do that. So I found someone to edit my book because after 40 years, I'm translating myself, but to edit it to make sure that all the dots are good, that it's all good, and So I'm translating in English, and when it's done, then I'll put a link on my Facebook pagina and on my website, and then you can just click on the button and you can buy the ebook, and the other books I'll be putting them also on Amazon. My website is www.zijnskracht. I'll put a link on my Facebook. You can find it there. Zijnskracht.nl, and there you can hire on. Nice to see you too. What did you think? Your sister is doing it in English. I'm gonna watch her too. So if you look on my website, you can see it also in English. And today somebody clicked on English and they saw a Canadian flag and they thought, wow, that's just some of those finishing touches that I like. And so I'm going to start by, that's why I'm reading it from the paper, the translation. Let's see if I can do that. The introduction of my book, Will a Real Mother Stand Up? I dedicate my book and light a candle for every child in us whose heart has stopped beating, for the baby in the womb who gave his life so his or her brother or sister could live, for the born child who lives with an unexplained feeling of guilt and doesn't allow him or herself to see the light of day. That they are in this life, may be reconnected, so that the child who has passed away gets a voice, a face, and a safe place in our hearts. By connecting us with love, and the light in us comes from within, one incredible power and soul mission comes free. The child who was born remembers why it has come into this world and feels supported by the light of his or her soul children who has passed away. And they can radiate their light in this world together. I dedicate my book and light a candle for the child in us who has passed away without being born, in warmth, love, security, and safety. To every child in us who holds his or her hands up in the hope of being carried, but out of tiredness gets buried under the trash of life. To every child in us who has completely lost himself or herself by seeking in the outside world the unconditional love, warmth, safety, and security that he or she longs for so much. That these children are inspired through my book and through the tools that I provide to find their way back home again. I dedicate my book and light a candle for every child in us that has ever been abused in any way in his or her life. That the pain is so deep tucked away that the key for self-love has been thrown away. That with the tools that I provide in my book, doors can be opened to the pain and sorrow and to what has been lost in his or her life. And by embracing it, the child gets a voice, a face, and a place where he or she can let go in love and light, carried by the flow of water. That life may flow back into you where it has stood still. May the pain transform into a tremendous power to make it disappear from the world for good. Having in vulnerability the courage and the strength to free themselves. With my book and light a candle. I dedicate my book and light a candle for every teenager who takes his or her own life or is taken by someone else because of the bullying and of the violence. Let it be clear that these teenagers did not want to end their lives, but an end to the inner suffering they went through and knew no other way out. For the teenagers who are currently considering to end their life or someone else's, I light a candle for all teenagers who want to inspire others with their story and give them a voice, face, and safe place in this world. This allows them to embrace themselves with unconditional love and live from the beautiful being they are in love and light and radiate that all over the world. I dedicate my book and light a candle for every mother in us. There is no love greater than a mother's love for her unborn child. Just like a child who has been invisible after 9 months and is born during childbirth. The unborn child has a long invisible way before it was born in this world, and that has certainly not always been easy. Once born and lying in our arms, our newborn is a gift to the world. Right away we forget the hard road we traveled during those 9 months, and so also when we let our inner child be born. So stop looking at the outside outside world to what the child wants in you. Find the power in the mother of you, travel inside and free the child in you. I also light a candle for the mother who says she cannot have children, and thereby she rejects her own inner child. Let the mother in you stand up and embrace the child in you that screams for unconditional love, warmth, security, and safety. As a mother, be aware that if you do not clean up the trash of your own childhood and that of the generations before you, you pass it on to your new age children so that you both cannot express your own love and light. Clean up your own mess for yourself, but also for your children. And dear new mothers of this time, if you carry trash from your parents and generations before, please clean this up before you let children come into the world. The children born in this world want to be wanted in love, warmth, security, and safety. This is a foundation on which they can spread their love and light in any way they want. If they do not experience this in the womb, they just may go prematurely. They may die, and I agree with them. I dedicate my book and a lighted candle for our parents. I chose my parents to learn the lessons needed to radiate my soul mission, my light in the world. They have given me the strength and perseverance to survive my childhood, to travel inside, to open all the doors, and to free myself. They gave me my high sensitivity so that I could find my way back to my heart, my light, and my home. The source from which I could remember who I am and what I am here to do on earth. Because of what my parents gave me, I could break through the family karmas, where it no longer served me and the world. And by radiating this, my mother and I were able to reset the line of the women in our family. And at my mother's funeral, the words that were spoke about her, that she was a strong and courageous woman, I now proudly carry on that legacy. What qualities did your parents give you? And could you use them to transform them in your life into love and light? I dedicate also my book and light a candle for all the adults in us who have not felt loved, safe, and secure as a child. And because of this, they have locked themselves in solitude, behind a wall to protect themselves from the outside world. This ensured that they could not be a father or mother to their children. And because of this, their children also built a wall of silence around them with all the consequences. All went out into the outside world to look for what they wanted as so much as a child. I light a candle for all these adults who with incredible strength and great perseverance break through their own walls and embrace themselves with love. And by expressing this love, it shines to their parents and their own children, and shines so to embrace unconditional love. Doors are open so that they are able to free their own child in this life as well. Then I would like to read a piece of, I don't know if they in English, Reiki and family consultations and the Bachbloesemflowers. They are very strong, energetic, self-healing tools that have helped me greatly through the inner journey to free the child in me in the last 23 years. And I can say that without them, it wouldn't have happened. Reiki learned me the unconditional love, to give that to myself. At every moment of the day. The family consultations, they broke down every wall possibly that there was. In the family system. And the Bachbloesemflowers, they transformed energetically every negative mood into a positive mood. And that was just wonderful. So I'm going to read a small piece of a piece from Reiki and a piece from the family consultations and from the Bachbloesems, from the first part, what they did with me. I was driven from within to free the child in me who had been buried under the garbage of her childhood. Because of the inner power, but also the pain I felt came from inside, I knew that the highway I had to go down was going inwards and not through the outside world. I was fine with that because I knew that I could now use the strengths with which I had survived my childhood to free her. This was the least I could do for her as a mother. In addition, I was aware that it was my choice to make my inner journey. I did not want to bother anybody else, and above all, not depend on others. As a nurse, I didn't want to have anything to do with pills that would only poison and numb me. I had to have a clear head to take the right highway and not take the wrong turns. I also wanted to be fresh and fruity on the day meeting of the child in me. Of course, not knowing that it would take 28 years. What also played a part was I didn't want to give up my family and my passion for nursing of any kind. What was precious to me, I wanted to hold on to dearly, take care of them and of myself. And looking back, I had powerful conditions before starting my journey. And that's how I wanted it and nothing else. In the family consultations, I had found a warm, loving, safe, and secure place. This is the place where the hidden stories of my family system could get a voice, a face, and a place where they could be seen and heard. This was till then not allowed. The comforting words for me were that everyone was entitled to a place in the system, including me. My teacher of the family consultations, Nienke, she said to me, "You always leave from a nicer place than you came." No, that sounded like music to my ears. My next story is an example of a family consultation, and I invite you to listen. It was a life-changing experience for me. My father loves me. You are my daughter. I love you. During a family consultation, I was on the sidelines watching the represents of my family. When my father's represent said these words, "You are my daughter and I love you." Come again? What did he say? I asked. At that moment, I moved to my own place in my family system. While my father looked at me, I asked him if he could say that again. And that happened. He said, "You are my daughter and I love you very much." While my ears were ringing, as I heard it for the first time, I felt myself withdrawing from the here and now. The pain of all those years of not hearing this became too much for me. A voice asked me to put my hands on my heart and feel what there was. Reiki started the flow of unconditional love through me. I felt warm inside. Because of the connection of love with my inner child, I could look again at my father. I've waited a long time to hear you say that, I said. I know, he said, but now I'm here for you. These words seemed to be a gateway to eternal life, for which everything from the past no longer mattered. That day, I took the thought with me that it took a family lineup to get my father to say that he loved me. But so eager to understand what was happening there, I went from my heart to my head again and felt the warm and loving path giving away. So again, I gave myself Reiki. To go back inside and feel that something that day wonderful had happened. Even though he couldn't say it himself, my father loved me. You're going back to work, Ken? Oh, you have touched my heart. Oh, nice. By saying that you touch my heart too, again. Thank you. What time is it actually there in Canada? It's here 11 o'clock at night. Oh, maybe you're already gone. Maybe we'll see each other tomorrow night. The third part is the Bach flowers. When I discovered the title of the softness of the Bach flowers. When I discovered 3:30 in the afternoon. Oh, you were on a break. Yeah, I just have to answer you. Yeah, nice. Ken Velsen. Nice. When I discovered that a highly sensitive girl lived in me who wanted to be seen and heard, I went looking. In the pure simplicity of the Bach flowers, I found a soft, warm, safe, and secure place where I could let the child be born in me. With the support of these different blossoms, I was able to make one wonderful journey through the different layers of my unique personality. The power of this self-healing ability ensured me that when I opened a door of piled up garbage, I could create a Bach flower and knew that it then would be okay. Every negative mood transformed into a positive mood. Every time again, bringing me closer to myself. I was continuously encouraged to go on. The desire to open the next door grew more and more. From my intense passion is it my deepest desire to let the light that now shines in me to shine in the world. All the way to candle again. So to light up the candle of every unborn or born child in us, so it can find its way through the birth canal and feeling forever loved in the safe arms of our own father and mother. Yes, it's very true, Ken. Yes. You're very right. Thank you for sharing this. Sending you all my love. Because also you are a beautiful person. It is my intense passion and my deepest desire to let the light now shine in me to shine also in this world, as I said, all the way to Canada, to you, Ken. So to light up the candle of every unborn or born child in us, so it can find its way through the birth canal and leave feeling forever loved in the safe arms of our own father and mother. I don't know why it's important to say at this moment. I always speak from intuition, but also every man, every father, every is also a beautiful uh, mother in him. And in my book, I would like to take you on a journey through the wonders of the Bach flowers. If there is something that I have learned in these 23 years, 25 years, I don't know exactly how many years, is thankfulness. Thankfulness for everything in my life. Thankful that I made this road trip down under to free the child in me, the 2-year-old that was lost and buried, and bring her back to life. That's what I did. I brought her back to life. And not only her, the generations behind me. And I'm so thankful that I had the strength to do this. And I'm thankful that every day that I live, I'm thankful of everything. And that's a very high energy thankfulness. And when you're thankful for everything that you have, then everything comes to you. Every day, the most beautiful things happen to me, just because that's the law of attraction. And when you're thankful and you have that high energy, then you attract love and light all around you. And I've had to do a lot of that. I've had to do a lot to go through that, but there are of course a lot of challenges, but when you see the challenges as moments of growth, that come on your path, then you look it through other different eyes, and that's real nice. And that's the thank you that I have here that I would like to read to you. Hi, Anita. Hi. This is at the end of my book, my thank you for everybody who came on my path to help me. Because of course you don't do it alone. You don't want to do it alone. The way to our hearts, to the love that lives in us, the light on our path, and the connection with the universe, our home. To trust now that from the silence of not being heard, that we are now being taken care of, and that we can now live in freedom from our true, authentic selves. Gratitude is a beautiful flower that transforms poor thinking into rich thinking. And from surviving on my own, on the outside world, to enjoy and playing freely on the inside world. Step by step, tears of grief became tears of gratitude. Somebody said a couple of weeks ago, he said, I'm crying, but I'm not sad. I said, no, but there are many kinds of tears. Tears of sadness, but also tears of happiness. If the tears of happiness that I've been shedding the last couple of months are huge. By integrating gratitude into my life, I grew to understand that I was a part of something much bigger than myself. And I wanted to do this not alone, but together. For all who have meant something in my life that I allowed me to experience this healing journey and write this beautiful book, I light a candle at the beginning of my book and at my end. With tears of gratitude, I light a candle for my mother, who has held up all the mirrors for me. and has provided all the tools to the mother I have been looking and longing for, to find her in myself. She gave her life through her death so that the mother in me could rise up and publish my book. Grateful that during her dementia process, the garbage of her own past slipped away. And if only for a moment, I could experience my mother that I had longed so much for as a child. Thank you, Mom. I bow deeply and thank my husband. I don't know if he's gone to bed already, but with his unconditional love, he was a foundation from which I could travel. He was a silent engine that cared for me with an unconditional love. In times of trial and error, in panic and at peace, to finally let me go out of his love for me, to go on my own way in this life, and to bring out the best in both of us. Thank you, Leo. I thank my father that he always held up to me a mirror of the lonely suffering of a child behind the wall, that he gave me the power to survive as a tool that kept pushing me forward, to free us from a long line from his ancestors. By embracing him in light and love, the door opened behind which his inner child was hidden. And I thought at that moment about how many children. Oh, you're here. Shall I say it? Tell it? No. One more time. The door opened behind which his inner child was hidden, and I thought about how many children have gone without ever seeing the light of day. I gratefully light a candle for my grandfather, my guide in heaven. In difficult times, he whispered in my ear that he was with me. I felt carried by him, and I learned to trust him in the universe, my home. As he was my father's father, he represented to me the love and light of the hidden man's line through which I could connect to my father. I light a candle for my coach Laura, now my guide in heaven. Laura fed me as a mother for her cub until I myself could be the mother to the child in me. She lovingly took me by the hand and connected me with Kundalini Reiki, the light in my being. With this, I felt a direct connection with my inner child and what she needed. Laura witnessed me for the first time connecting with my inner child. Laura taught me how to embrace her and feed her with warmth, love, security, and safety. When Laura died, her light, I promised her to continue her light to shine in my book. I light 3 candles for my daughter and 2 sisters who are also guides in heaven. Who woke up, my daughter and 2 sisters, they woke up the woman's line in me and always reminding me of the playfulness and lightness of life. My daughter comes to visit me like a butterfly and like a bird, and my sisters helped me to take the drama out of the womb and start enjoying life, which was necessary to write and release this book, to publish this book in the beautiful energy that I now have done after 5 years of writing. I thank my homeopathic doctor who has guided me in my inner journeys for years, always having a listening ear and giving me the experience of Reiki. She gave me a warm, loving, safe, and secure place where I could give a voice, a face, and a place to that what was not allowed. I thank my Reiki family consultations and Bach flower teachers that Reiki taught me to love myself and to take it deep and to stand up together in love and light. That the necessary hidden stories that deep tucked away had a voice, face, and place again in my life. Under the guidance of the Bach flowers, all transformation processes were possible, and that I can now send out all these beautiful self-healing tools. I thank the open circles. They taught me the hard, groundbreaking lessons to get out of my victim role and step out of every comfort zone so that I could transform all my anger on the world into an inner strength. They taught me to use that power to break through walls and realize that I could win the game of life. I thank Bassa Mirna from the highly sensitive entrepreneur that in a warm bath of unconditional love, warmth and security and safety, the child in me could grow, realizing that I was worth living, investing in myself and in all my dreams as a beautiful person and as an entrepreneur. It was here that I learned to move from poor thinking to rich thinking, which has changed not only my life, but also the lives of my family. I thank, of course, my children, my 3 beautiful sons, my grown-up sons, whom I have been able to give all the love, warmth, security, and safety, which I did not experience as a child, and was the foundation of my book and my mission, that we enjoy till today good food, games, traveling together, and enjoying the good things about life and each other. I thank all spiritual guides who have also always been a light on my spiritual path. I thank all the people who have been mirrors on my path that have taught me all the lessons I needed to learn. I thank all the people in my nursing care, all those 40 years, who have provided the basis from which I could give and receive my love. And I thank my dogs who taught me what unconditional love is, and that I could experience that love in my life. Hey, Ken, are you still there? Hello, Leo. That's my husband. Yeah. And Caroline. Mm. Mm. Nice, Leo. Okay. This has been a really wonderful experience for me. Oh, nog een hartje van man. From my husband. English, of course, Wendy. Yeah. I don't know if anybody has questions for me, or I'm just loving this experience. I feel so close to. I'm so happy you are here. You are here. Maybe still can. I have so much love and so much love for Canada, and I hope at the end of this year to buy a motorhome in Vancouver and start traveling 1 month a year to Canada and the US, to the beautiful nature of Canada. And I sure will look up you all. Thank you all for listening tonight. En voor diegenen in Nederland wel te rusten voor straks. En die in de Engelse landen of in the English countries. Have a nice day. And also for those who will be watching my live at another time. A quote from Star Trek, live long and prosperous. Yes. Yes. And what comes to mind for me is in abundance. I live every day full of abundance. So much abundance around me. And that in this time. Okay. Then I'm going to say good night, good day, and I'll see you tomorrow evening around the same time, around 11 o'clock. And